friends, in this lecture video, we will discuss about another Python library called Yahoo Financials, which is again used to extract data from Yahoo. Now you may ask, why do we need to spend time on another Python library, which essentially does the same thing that YFinance does, which we have already discussed? Well, to answer that question, these are all open source libraries, right? They are typically built and supported by a single developer, right? So chances are that the developer loses interest and stops supporting it. There is a some change. There is some change in the API or in the web setup, in the web page setup of Yahoo Finance, and then essentially the the library becomes useless, right? So it's always good to have diverse options, right? To have a number of options by which you can get data. So I mean, it's no harm to just know about this library and just have it in your repertoire. Okay, so again, just look up, just Google search Yahoo Financials GitHub, and you will end up in this GitHub page. The documentation is fairly nice, right? And in addition to stocks, you can also get data for index currencies, cryptos, ETFs, and a bunch of other assets as well. Okay, so again, it's a fairly versatile library, and it uses web scraping, right? It doesn't use an API to connect to Yahoo. It uses web scraping. And if you don't understand what is web scraping, don't worry about it. I have entire lecture on web scraping, how web scraping can be used, and we will also get into how you can build your own web scraper to scrape any given website, right? But the backbone of this particular library is web scraping. There are both pros and cons because of that, right? The pros is that it's more stable, right? And the cons is that it's a bit slow compared to the libraries that provide API connectivity. Okay, so again, just go through the documentation, fairly straightforward. Installing it is fairly easy. Pip install Yahoo Financials and you should be fine. Although it says that this is only for Linux and Mac system, I have a Windows system, and using pip install Yahoo Financials, I was able to install it. So that really shouldn't be a problem. If you are facing a problem installing this, try this command. If you're still facing problem, just post it in the Q&A section. Okay. What else? So this library used to support even fundamental data extraction, for example, balance sheet information, cash flow information, and things like that. But off late, these things have stopped working. So for example, get financial statements, get stock earning data, and all that, these are not really working. That's because I think Yahoo has made some changes in their financial data, in their fundamental data. They have put it behind a paywall. So that's why the present version of the library is not really supporting it. You'll get error if you'll run some of these commands, right? But getting the open, high, low, close, and volume is still working. The OHLCV data is still pretty much working. So you need this particular function, get underscore historical price data, to get price data. So let me show you a demo of how exactly this thing works. Okay, so again, getting data is fairly straightforward. You just import the Yahoo Financials library, and within Yahoo Financial library, you want to import Yahoo Financials module, right? Y capital, capital, right? So once you import it, right, all you need to do is create an object. So create a ticker object. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with object oriented programming concepts, but what we are trying to do here is that we are creating an object, right? We are calling this object Yahoo underscore financials, right? And this object will have the same properties of Yahoo Financials class, right? Essentially, it means that once you create this object, it will be able to kind of perform all the functions that are coded in within this library. So that is essentially it, right? So let me quickly run it, right? So now you have created this object, right? Now this object, now you can perform a lot of functions on this object, like getting historical price data. Earlier, you could have used getting financial statement data and current in cash flow data and all that, but those are not working anymore. But this function is working, so we are going to use that, right? So Yahoo underscore financials dot get underscore historical underscore price underscore data, right? So this is the function. Again, you have to provide what is the beginning date, what is the ending date, and what is the frequency. Unfortunately, you cannot get intraday data using this library. The lowest, the most granular level information is daily. You can change it to weekly or monthly, right? That they are supported, but you cannot get more granular than daily, right? So let me quickly run it and show you how this data looks, right? So if I run this, it has pulled the data, and you can see that it is pulling this data in a dictionary format, right? And wow, okay, so this is not how we have seen the data so far, right? So far we have seen that the data has been extracted in a pandas data frame format, and it's much more easier to kind of navigate through it, right? But if you see that this is a dictionary, so data was saved as a dictionary, and a dictionary, as you know, it has a key value pair. So the key is Microsoft, which makes sense because we created Microsoft object, right? And then the value, if you open the value, it is another dictionary, right? So you can see that it's a listed dictionary format, and this is called JSON, right? So w- Yahoo Financials provide data in the form of a JSON data structure. So let me show you how JSON really looks. So this is a sample JSON file. I want you to think of JSON as nothing but nested dictionaries, right? So you can see that this is a dictionary, right? So the within the dictionary, the key is quiz, and then there is a value corresponding to the quiz, right? In this case, there is only within this dictionary, the dictionary within these brackets, right? These two brackets, there is only one key value pair, right? And that's quiz, and then everything within this, right? So all this is the value for quiz, right? Now, that value of quiz is another dictionary, right? You can see that the value of quiz is another dictionary, and within that dictionary, there are two key value pairs, right? One is sport and da 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 da, this, and then second is maths and da 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 this, right? Then within sport, there is another dictionary, right? Q1, and then the questions and things like that, right? So this is how data is stored in JSON. It is used extensively in industry. So XML and JSON are two ways in which most of the data is stored in industry, no matter which industry you're working in, finance, insurance, um, you know, technology, right? Pretty much everywhere you'll see that either JSON or XML is being used, and they have similar format. It's just that JSON uses dictionary kind of format, nested dictionary format, and because of gaining popularity of Python, JSON is also gaining popularity because dictionary is a pretty prominent data structure within Python, right? So I mean, if you understand dictionary, I mean, it's a fairly easy thing for you to understand how the data is kind of stored in JSON and how you can access whichever data that you want. Okay, so now let's go back to the code. So you see that this is the data, right? And then the task at hand is for us to extract the relevant information. So right now, let us go back to this. So let me again show you this particular JSON, right? So let me open it again, right? So you have this particular key value pair, Microsoft, and then the value. Let us open the value, right? This is another dictionary, and in that dictionary, you have these key value pairs: currency USD, events data something, first rate data something, instrument type equity, prices something, and time zone as something, right? You want prices, right? So if I open prices, now you will see that, yeah, this is more familiar territory. You can see that there are a number of rows, right, within prices, and then you have within each, so each kind of again, this is a dictionary, this is a lot of dictionary, but each dictionary, if you open, you will see that within that level of dictionary, you have some key value pairs, and here the key value pairs are making more sense. Adjusted close, close, high, low, open, volume, right? So in the next lecture video, we'll see how we can get this data, right? How we can extract this data and store it in a data frame, which is something that we are more familiar with. In the next lecture video, we'll look at how we can extract the data, the JSON data into data frame, and how we can use multiple tickers to get data from all of them. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lecture video. Thanks a lot.